Ghana fue yedie na bayo yedie na bay Epestin fertilizer booster purely organic efrasa simu ene de masase no obo ade ensa no pe na menu akayo se wudro bia nim enti se ode yafu a anya ade aduaba no anase wo a wudi no benya sosaso bia na chese be ma kwaye aye dekorate kane no a ebe fa na tuma pa ede afra na de ma Epestin edan so kra de se enema no wadua na ewuwo na flowers ni aduaba na etiti godo agya wadwo a se wudi Epestin kanu a ene tese magic no ebe ye prom fe na aso aba bebre ahwadi mu pa eti se no kwiafo ebenya sika ene anigye awo mabra bomu a na otimi se enya sam keto akra Epestin e mammo piafo apanifo monfrɛ ahoman na monje nkyiremu ya ehye medie 0552 505723 ana plus 160 922 78043 Epestin fertilizer booster piao mama kwadwuma ayane kapa
making farming sexy again. Epestin, operation feed yourself. Epestin, plant your trees and crops.
Yo, what you for any asha for and ya juada. Ya better about the assessor, I any pena, me no me no. And then you man so ya sign ye shemu ewa habium sabres ye shemu si anamunina munim se a ye jumadi strong a ye ya papa ye nuabema ye nana a ye Rev.D and Adjei or de a brain a juada bia obani ye benyankita hundio obani ebedi enkomo oba eba be share ye gidie ma oba ebe share ye nkran sare ye na wotwe no ye de bebo ye bra na etimi aboa ama bibi biara ye bia so etimi akọ sare ase mesrese se wabo modern aba be kan ye ho eye ene anwumre yi a bomodi aso be share video no be ma wunu bi be ma wadanfo bi said ono nso dwumadie ebe ye mfaso ede ebe man na wotwe mu minim se eye mfaso ede ma said ameka no said ye bi fa omo pel no yenso ye pela ye fa abribia ene sa dwumadie nti bomodi se wonso obe share said ya obi nso dwumadie be ye mfaso man ye de nchia kasema eye Josephine champions house na koma Margaret Kwachua ene abusiafo nyina mesese wo baso na sma mogudin amesese fa cheme yeda munyina sese abribia mo tie chi anasa mo supporting Kwamet TV na sabre mugusu a mo hwe anasa wutie enso ana wutie ewo ke hit radio yeda maso bebre se abribia munya emrepa ede emayen ene odosronko so ede mayen ambekan ho mesese mo share video yi enti sabre yensa emre no meden chakase bema Rev.D and Adjei na yamano akwa abadiaba onwa ni dwumadie kase a adwada bia wode brands the Reverend we dey yama akwa abakase de ba positivity with Rev.D and Adjei dwumadie ya so
akwajo we dey yajebo so ya chia atiefo nyina na tede adwada bia ye no ye dey aseda nso ma atiefo odo a omo edan na di na omo ne ye ehia na yebo modern say ye nyina dey hu begina bia foforo na aniema bia wasa yensa aka yensa timi aka enti ye be chia mo nyina nya bi onhira mo se ne nso mo ase madaje mo mre ene Ghana be kasa mo credit wa share ye wala ini so na ye ba be di nkomo enti nya mi onhira mo na onka mo na nya mi onye mo kase nso
yo yeda sebebre atiefo we dey na chese mo hu se Reverend Ayekrado na dia mebisa se ahano Reverend ahana se awo no emu ayedin wa hanom na nka mebisa se mo honom nso etisan
ahana de me kan say
okay
so ne to ya che but e woni wo mu a bada wi abo ya me ka sa na wi an bonti
okay
ya na ye
ahade ase anu ayedin kakra mu na nyumre mu nti e da sra kese be ma erade se wanya emre ede amayen na ene ne mebisa se ene den sonkon na wo ede mayen ewo ene dwumadie yi so
and then me gini se ne ya na wo se edi nkomo bi se na Assembly amity and Chebi, I say.
Oh,
So
okay.
painful news be kakra, but did
Painful.
Yanko Pontias for Okaye Huna or because so.
So.
I mean, yasophobia na your seminary na ya dying bomb na your bomb pie boom, you're the same.
Yeah.
You choose the same courses, we're doing so many things together.
Oh.
The last week now, I was sending me a message, be say, when you have some attack, bina. So we're praying about it, but then I say, formation and minya, you know, stress, the Yame Penoy.
Oh.
And then Yame say,
Mm.
Nyame de nkwache no na onipa nyame nam ne soji wo nso so no migiri say it's just a privilege and opportunity say nyame de no ebeche na tell the last week I no I thought that these things are painful issues and
Mm-hmm.
I just felt said then I watch me and said the enemy let us just try and take time off to understand what pain is.
Mm-hmm.
Majority is good for our platform, no, because some of the times in the might be why you come they're painful. And if we
Mm-hmm.
really understand what these things are, boy, am I to me respond effectively to all these things. And none of the shut down come we just want to just said the quiet fast so by any those kind of things, you know. Na
Okay.
nyame adom na watwe ade anim ne na watwe ne nyame de nkwa chaye na ode ahoden chaye and then we'll talk about the other side of pain. And
Oh.
then we'll deal with
And
pain.
Reverend, Mr. Wansana Betwas, no, where the imagine a tearful nyina, a shafo nyina, and then Munacha say the ama we yako. Na the SCBA said our kind, himself would be manyame. And even this time, crowd was saying, mood a womb was saying, quite at the mine, and say it made a Sadakasi amount. Where the when you're bushing for Yamamu, Yako, I hope, say, a radi a beshamoding, not just a motimi, ejina, a yedia, mubo musisiano. Nti when you be kakra, you bit me at the Adjei, and I think say Yenia ba Margaret and so at the message about say may his soul rest in peace. Yada Yenia ba asibebre. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Adam Watson so and we hope that God will do what he has to do. There be a thing back when make an
So, nti Reverend Wedie, yenim say wo pain mu de. And I don't know. Unsa na wo kasa wo be kasa about pain. Nti I to say the aba be hiem. Nti
yeah,
bia
yeah.
we no ne be hu ebema like emotionally ni bibia and you pour it out very well for us to know how it is. Nti whatever you have for us for today, no, we are ever ready for it and
Yeah.
hopefully I know say ebe boy nyina.
Unim de maka it's like my name is my son and my daughter. Now
Oh, okay.
yes, kind of half night to be mechanics like in the evening, later part of the evening, we many I recovery for a recovery hour until we so we were just studying and praying into the night. You know? One of the things and I made sure when sometimes say if God wants you to pray for somebody, I thought that be on my feeling how the person is feeling. Said the prayer over to me at here now be who say this is what the person is going through and you know how best to pray for the person. Sometimes it's maybe a coincidence, but I think that it's very related to what we want to start and what we want to work on this 3 weeks here at the enemy. Then you have to say Abishiasa na a bomb Yamempa said you was saying Yame ebe.
So, amen. Amen. Nti medenchia kasia bema Georgia Opoku sans na koma me amenu abema ehia boaten wo Chicago yada masebebre say na nwumre mo amohwen wo YouTube nso yada mo nyina ase Facebook yada mase Kwamet TV yada mo nyina ase mo nso amohwe through Reverend page and so yada mo nyina ase if you say wa share wo honum ye bekan nyina ne say obaso abomori anso ba share video no say de wo nua bi jumadi nso be yemfaso e de be man nti Reverend we de na che say ye den chia kase ma Thomas Foucault ye da ase bebre me nua be ma Texas at the sign ye da ase bebre nti sa bre de Reverend ye be jamu e de ama na bibi biara and then wo ma yen no wode amayen.
Okay, nti abusuafo ya da nyame asese de di kankan. Sometimes as Christians, you say yeah GD4, yeah onyame nkrofo. It is good that we expect say niema nyina ebekọ yie na there ye dey see ani so no ebetimi abamu. Now, as we try to clear the way now this year, onyame adomo wo edema brabo betimi abamu no. I think that the idea be what I was say a tree agency na a very relative and very practical as we move in the ladder of life. Now, one of the things I think youth or more youth fellowship or Emmanuel or more discuss Sunday Bible studies. They took the book of Job. Now, almost shushim. Now, I think that some of the things we learned from the book are very relevant for our lives today, especially as we want to build a positive mindset and to be able to handle life issues and move forward. Now, I think that in theology, these kind of stories, a friend says story of the innocent sufferers. Now, the kind of story of the innocent sufferers that almost say. Most of the time, the book of Job is even possible. Say, Nipa, I can was in cry and friend Job. Now, if you are an Old Testament student like myself, and you realize that, Levantine area, Amaya na treasure or the same story, and in the various countries, Nidia, Nipa, or go through that suffering, a different, and it is possible say nipa this Job story and yet a person a friend Job as him and but the indication say stories na mining with the same story with different name and different shows in that period some kind of a story like that this is how the people of Israel or more whether the person was an Israelite or he belonged to the other countries. This is how they reported theirs to us. Now, as people are sometimes some of the things are and why we go through some of the things. And then we just want to answer the question what pain is. Now, next week, we will do why we go through some of the emotional pains. Sometimes, it's for our benefit. And next week, we'll be dealing with the other side of pain. And is more of an introduction. And your campaign here, from the scientific perspective, it will most of the time be physical. The wako pra, wako tiashe, any unipeduano, ekoye or mubi, be a yarebi, and ato, any of those kind of things. And to those, that is a basic visible kind of pain. Onipa ekomu. However, some physical pain can result in the other kind of pain. Your friends say emotional pain and psychological pain. And the for line is it's not more of the physical pain. Ubi pra, ubi mweti, and those kind of things. I know there's a uprasa medoveko hospital now. Amen. But there are person a share titulu ne odie bi a koso e ya tinkamu ene ya dwendwemu. So that pain that is psychological, that pain that is emotional. And like I said, sometimes the cause of this kind of pain, some of the physical things now you come is the basic, and everybody knows say it shows now. Will experience that emotional pain in your life. Now, Timmy said the greatest source of emotional and psychological pain, I friend is expectation.
Expectation.
The greatest or the only expectation. Now, as a positively minded people, they do at this team, and they said we want to develop your expectation because if you want to think positively, you're a positively minded person, it also boils back to your expectation. You need to expect good things to happen. you need to expect to be achieving certain things. And for this team now, yeah, building one of the foundation, is to work on our expectation. Said that a bit me avoid the negative expectations. Now, a bit me I put you on positive expectations. And he said, if you want to achieve positive results and you don't have positive expectations, we've spoken so much about it. Sometimes you don't even have the energy to pursue what you want to achieve. Sometimes, because you don't have positive expectations, utu anamona BBSC and because you're really not expecting anything positive from what you are doing. However, it's just like a caution as we climb the ladder of expectation. Now, it may achieve positivity. Say sometimes, expectations, can lead us in various ways. The emotional pain, the psychological pain, and sometimes, when we expect and we enter into this kind of pain, now you're dropping an expectation, and that is what we don't want you to do. And until I have umbrella, I actually see the entire todabia, though we have the best kind of expectations, and so you go through some of the pains, So as you expect positive things and you meet these challenges and these causes of pains, on drop a positive mindset, And it is in line with what we are trying to do. And I think we started talking about it last year, December. Said we will be doing a series on this pain. And for me, now we are taking this issue and to deal with these 3 weeks. And they say, we really don't want you to drop your expectation, because the expectation now is the basis, is the foundation for your positive thinking. If you are not expecting good things, if you are not expecting positive things, if you are not expecting, then it is not possible for you to be a positively minded person. And we are just dealing with this one so that you don't drop that expectation, so that you don't start thinking negatively, so that those kind of things now will expect you and push you to a different category of thinking, another negative mindset, and so I think that is very important. And the only reason I can say expectation is a chief cause of our pain. It is out of your expectation that brings all these other causes of your pain. Into the first cause, under the umbrella of expectation, failures. And for idea my experiencing emotional pain, psychological pain, sometimes they failures, and there's nothing called failure without expectation. In America, I can say all these things will come out of your expectation. I thought that be and I'm won't be what true, and I'm won't be what didn't say why yet there was a we be would you say idea pa dear anka modern bobby and cause me do room and media day media room. And so Bakwa no na aferi na anko said ya usi epeno. I told her the air pa ne say why ye bibia na wabo hoka all the energy na ya fail because of your say clerical errors. What be there? Yeah, which would na one me see the ba could be it's only a friend typo not is a typo me what why a typographical mistakes be then all of a sudden something that you really expected to achieve and to be victorious with now a failure. And when we encounter situations like this, it causes a lot of emotional and psychological pain. We knew, we expected, and we had all the resources that we were supposed to invest. And we actually invested in the right way and expecting a good, until so do you have a power. It is natural for you to also expect a good harvest. But that expectation, not to me, hit the rocks now, who encounter something called failures. And so the failures of life, I did this emotional and psychological pain, ever. And the second aspect of this expectation, which is very related to these failures, a disappointment. And the failures of life, offer emotional pain no eba ne say once we try something na ye de ehura bibia mu na say ade ne aye ne say de si we si ye obi wo ho a wode na ho ode nyina hwe obi abrantie bi ohun de me che no expecting say anka be ma betimi de nsa abafie so the ubegina feature I love you need the can be 3,000 times maybe but so you bebe fear no when to me and yes sometimes your expectations lead to certain things called failure and the failure brings the disappointment and I was now for this emotional pain I can was an psychological I'm just combining these two they be affect your emotions it affects your psychology and that is why I'm just combining them. And it is not, it is out of failures, and I will feel this kind of disappointment, And disappointments are you common, a deep pain, and sometimes, it is very natural to everybody. When we feel disappointed in any place, any kind of environment, or shut in this kind of pain. And in the Bible, almost every person, from Abraham, went through it. From Moses, they all went through it. Joseph cried, the onwani nuanom cried, or soon that year he had great expectation. Many nuanom unkocha, na daninto. They sold him and he became a slave just because he decided to share his expectations with them. Moses akwaje mbransem edi free people so de eba or expectation or the bebe or mine no mine betimi no nyame atena na ye nhira dia mo no baaye no na mine ya de bi eni kwan so mo ye. The disappointment was there. And so the disappointment that we go through, these are the sources of this emotional or psychological pain you go through. And this failure, the disappointment, the third one is lack of understanding. Now, dear back also, you go through emotional pain is when you don't understand certain things that are happening. You're so clumsy. It's as if the world is crashing on you and you really don't even know why things are happening like that. And it's it's just take a dear kitty bianca you ask yourself all these questions now, and it's because you expect to achieve certain things out of it. So achievers gather a lot of expectations, and it is these expectations and now positive thinking that brings this emotional pain and the psychological pain common. And sometimes I ask myself, why also is one of the deliverance ministers I have ever seen. Or he just enjoy delivering people or still in the ministry, So he doesn't actually like to see people go through attack and those kind of things, so in the Juma. And so such a person who dedicate and devote himself just to pray for people and to make it his mission, say, for any in the life of other people, and he goes through this emotional attack and this happens. And so sometimes you really don't understand it. You really don't understand. You just curse your stars and you think that what at all was behind all these things, and that lack of understanding, a bit generated this kind of emotional pain and psychological pain in you. It means you try to invest in a particular business, now, when you say you had everything that you were supposed to get in order to venture into this particular business, but it didn't end up, and you sit down and you worry about it, and you say, so the empire and I was saying, man. Sometimes you ask yourself all these questions, and it begins to trigger negative thoughts in you. It begins to make you lose your positive mindset, and that is where we don't want to get to. And that is why we are trying to treat this topic. And the expectations of life, sometimes, leading to this kind of pains. And to make us expectations, I'm talking about your disappointments, I'm talking about your failures, I'm talking about things that you don't understand, I'm talking about your loss. So Nyama and Naya boom the expectations of our lives, and no na anko said you see panel na ma experience this emotional and psychological pain. Now, let me just read just some of these same things. About psychological and emotional pain. Sometimes we feel sadness. Sometimes we feel depression. Sometimes we are depressed. It challenges our ability to think positively because why depressed, and sometimes it brings grief. Grief now the other point was intense distress. And sometimes, when we experience this disappointment, so it leads to isolation and loneliness because you really don't trust people any longer. Ebi a wode want to obi so oboa obi na o expect say nka nipa na nka wode ho to so eto ne so no na wo boa no anka drum pre bi anka wo so hi amoa no ka nipa na so nka obesori agina wachi na nka wabo chidom. Sometimes this kind of things makes you pull yourself away from people, and sometimes as you pull yourself away from people, you are actually pulling yourself away from actual help. Now, I know be friend and not or can't assembly. I don't think that it's not something you would want me to share on this line. So let me just say it a different way. Say, what free mona it's going through some kind of a pain, and he doesn't know what they have done against this lady, but the lady keeps on pulling herself away from the family now. But also, they said they would really want to help, but the lady is pulling herself away. Contact, to be able to help, and it's because of maybe this kind of lack of understanding why they did affect me. And then I hope you understand. When we go through this emotional and psychological pains, one of the bad effects of it is as we try to get ourselves isolated and lonely, sometimes we are actually pulling ourselves away from and so it's a very bad experience for us as positive thinkers to go through this emotional and psychological pain. And sometimes, the other effect, my negative emotions, they be an one say, sometimes it leads to unnecessary panic. They be out to one and say, should be a business be or do who movie na ankwase de now see pen on it be a better so near being pokra you just panic whenever you hear anything related to that thing that caused the disappointment in your life. So emotional pain are very critical and very, very, very essential. And so it is good for us to be able to understand these things and to help manage these things if we want to maintain our positive mindset. Now, I thought that emotional pain can even make us do shameful things. And the last thing is sometimes an emotional pain it makes us see ourselves as worthless. I thought that a pain be a one say you devalue your actual self-respect. You think that nothing positive can come out of me. And like I said, and these are the sentence in here. I feel it's a responsibility on this page. Said about to me at here. So that as we experience all these things in our lives, it will not dampen our positive mindset and push us into a situation where we cannot energize ourselves and come back to the platform of positivity once again. I just want us to understand that it happens to everybody. Now, as it happens to everybody, let us control it because we are trying to build a team and we are trying to build ourselves to the platform of positivity. Now, the other person which is very important is to get us back to the story of Job. So all these things we are going through, they are out of our expectation, genuinely. But the most of them no be a young kasaya fum so and a cover this disappointments, this failures, this lack of understanding, this loss, no. But some of the times in a year, some of the things that you do, some of the times in a near maybe a 1 year, I thought there be some association be able to hunko remu. I thought there be a association be anka what's all the hunko remu na wanko remu. Some of the things that you so sometimes some of these things are your problems. And the next week when we are dealing with the other side of pain, we'll talk about all these things as well. But however, Osha Job's situation now what tears here, the emotional and psychological pain are affecting our positive mindset, a team stop it to believe in ourselves, which we don't want to encourage on this line, is that some of these causes, and you won't form so. And that is what sometimes it makes it more painful, because you know that you have done your very best. You know that you have sown your best seed, but you are not getting the best kind of harvest now or expecting. And it is not your fault in any way. I told you I want to meet as a fat pen. Now we are calculating, and you acquire me any day. I think I'm a bonibia and can't me. There was an incident be our baby, then I called one of my trusted fathers now, Menini Dinkomo, and I was crying on the phone. And what I remember that I asked him, he said, dear Pana me, dear Pana me, was it my fault, say, my pray say I'll try and do my best for that kind of church. Now me no at that particular time, Was it my fault to say, "Anya me adan bibi edi achire me na me pese me ne sorry matu ho anamo." Sometimes you think about it and you ask yourself, what at all did I do? And that is why we are taking this as an issue and to deal with it, so that you will not end up blaming yourself for all the things that you did not do. Macatro, I think that New Year resolution series, which we ended last week. I think last 2 weeks, and so Macatro say, you need to learn to forgive yourself. The empower when him say and a mommy expectations number mumpono. I was trying to advise you and to encourage you, say, if God Himself has forgiven you, you have no right to hold guilt against yourself. So you don't even have the right to hold the guilt against yourself. But we are still keeping the guilt. Me patriotic they mention and say, so how much more the why we need say way the nyamen from so. I did my best. The seed that I invested was the best that I could invest. And so please, we are trying to build a positively minded people. And all of us are a team. Even though what you are going through is not your fault. Even though what you are going through but we cannot leave you. We are a team. And that is why I want to encourage everybody. A member of Team Positivity. Say yes, yes, it is natural. It happens. And I said the whole book of Job, is in a team, and they said the innocent sufferer. So you probably might be innocent. You are asking yourself why. That's why, I'll just try to give about 3 or 4 reasons why sometimes we go through this kind of things, But this is what I want us to know and to do and to accept. And I say, sometimes it happens and it is not your fault. And you need not to allow it to dampen your positive mindset, It is not your fault. And you're informed so. And blame bebre. Now one push you an angle where you cannot rise up, where your spirit cannot rise up again. Me did say last 3 weeks, so me can say one of my distant spiritual fathers, Bishop Noel Jones, can say, don't lose your mind, because you're going to need your mind to take care of the next blessing that is coming. It's not your fault, but if you lose your mind, what if say expectation what kind of mind are you going to use to take care of the expectation? And for we are on a series. Now you say crying. So whatever we are going through, no, don't let it affect what you have been called to do. You need a positive mindset in order to be an achiever. It is natural for it initially, no. About so initially, Bible cries you soon all those things, they have their season, but they don't come to last because your life experiences that we go through at certain times. The disappointments may come, the loss may come, the failures may come, the situation where you are so confused and you don't know what to do, may come. But it is coming because it is its due time. But you need to allow it to die off. I was saying, other than that, you'll be carrying yesterday's pain into today's success. You really would not even feel free to enjoy the goodness. And this is Batima Makwata. Meaning, say I'm laying a touch on the emotions of people. I know it, but it's still relevant for us to deal with it before we proceed, because it is something that easily make us develop a negative mindset about ourselves. It's something that easily make us begin to see ourselves as failures, and that is not good for the journey that we are taking together. We have something called psychological and emotional pain. Expectations, say achieve now these sources, your disappointments, your failures, your confusion, your loss, out of these expectations, can lead you into the platform my friend says psychological or emotional pain. Our symptoms be critical to your development of your positive mindset. And out of this sentence now, I talked about isolation, I talked about feeling worthless and those kind of things, And my won't mean room potaya. Me person would do and you deal with all these things, But the American dear child to and say some of them no your fault. One case wouldn't say your fault. But there are some others in so why wouldn't him say you did your best and you actually could not achieve what you expect? But it doesn't mean say you should allow it to rule and to reign in your heart. I really want to read something. I don't know. I may not read it. If First Samuel chapter 30, I want you to have time to ask questions. Bible, and David encouraged himself in the Lord. And David encouraged himself in the Lord. It was not his fault. Go and read the story. But the most important thing is that out of all the pain and the disappointment, he learned to encourage himself in the Lord. And that David encouraged himself in the Lord. The disappointment is there. But if you are going to be a member of Team Positivity, one of the qualities as you go through this series for these 3 weeks, is that text from 1 Samuel chapter 30. Encourage yourself in the Lord so that you can stand up with a positive mindset and still be an achiever. When I'm going to
Yo, Reverend Yadas Bebre, where the Team Positivity, Mate and Jumadi na message Ebiana or question any message be a message of more answer or the beba and son the Jumadi no abba every year. I think some messages kakra ewo hono meden chia kase bema eye abusuafo nyina sa abre moya krado ewo Jumadi so mo amowo Facebook mo so amowo YouTube Kwamet TV ane KH Radio yeda mo nyina asiri aka nyina se erade ehira mo nyina nti I think say shas ya mechia ebinum omo amanchi omo no mede nchia kase ebemom sabre eye miami nuaba plange Benny Plange ya da sibebre sounds na koma Rose Allen yeah Mommy Grace Asantua Adjei yeah osofu mame ya da sibebre sounds na koma Ellen Eduba yada munyina asese abribia munya emre ede emayen and I think some messages kakra yensa aka anase bibi free Benny Plange or by or saying the stigmatization from the culture makes it hard sometimes. In the Reverend, I don't know, then maybe I will a cow.
Excellent. And American, it's good you bring these questions, no. And that is how we started this whole program because me questions ni here me pa. If you are not iman delivery my address is something that jene home. And if you bring the questions, it helps us to nail the to hit the nail on the head. Yes, sir. The stigmatization, another source of this kind of emotional pain. Number one, with disappointment in Ankasana what we experience, is causing the emotional pain. And out of that disappointment, you open expectation that society be able to come out of it. Then the society, in that sense, in the sense they will rather stigmatize you. And that makes the pain very excessive. And sometimes, in our culture where a nipa when things like that happen to you and you are going through your disappointment, instead of being support from the society and the immediate environment, sometimes they rather will stigmatize you and do so many bad things. May there is a COVID-19 by Madame Fubia free Lending back and I almost saw the COVID, but it was a huge pain. And everybody was running away from some funny experiences. And so sometimes that culture makes it very difficult for you to stand out of it. And so there are so many people who are experiencing the disappointment and have gone on to experience the stigmatization. But those people are not part of team positivity. I dare me say, no. And I made will say, we are building a team. This is a topic we probably might not have even thought about. But the Lord laid it on my heart and I realized that no, it's something we need to deal on this platform because it affects our positive mindset. It for many I will be as a question. No, the that is why we are here. So that we will actually understand that these things are things that are happening to people. And when we get stigmatized, you are a member of team positivity. And vision journey is to be able to maintain a positive mindset. Don't let the society can determine where you pause, but it should not determine where you stop. Makani.
So, yeah, that's a bit now, Reverend. At the end, me person me bisa say, it is here when there is pain, we have to accept it, right? And by we accepting it, what do we have to do to overcome that pain?
Okay, and in America, so it will come from the main reason, the purpose why you started. And the idea could me too, and I'm on me could do be a me disappointment, and into me experiencing this emotional pain. Why at all did I start it? And that is what one of my professors, Beckett, your call experience, normally empowers you when you encounter the disappointment. So God has called me to build this company. God has called me, say, may they say initiative you better. And at the point of call, you see good things ahead of you. And as you go through it, that's disappointment and you see the failures. That's why you need to see the disappointment and the failures. So now it brings you down. But if you are able to reconnect and to get back to why I thought did I start this, what was the light ahead of me? And my young test for this program, we deal with Numbers chapter 13. Numbers chapter 13 is a test we use for positivity. And on my Israel every Egypt Abba assassins, they had good expectations. But I'm go here now who said no. Say as I say no more they are giants, they are stronger than us. The disappointment was there. The disappointment was there. But the only way they could overcome that disappointment is Joshua drew the attention back to the purpose. Why at all did we start this journey? There was good things ahead of us. Nyame frɛ and say, "Yɛmbra mbɛnya nnepa." And abusuafo anamɔpa bi a wotuo biara, and sometimes no ɔbonsam n'ani ngye ho. So you get this disappointment and these failures. No, I was listening to a sermon. I say even the disappointment is an endorsement. Said yeah, way no pony papa. It's even an endorsement. And so please get back to why you started the journey at all. And let the glories that you thought about now I committee disappointment, let that glories, let that expected victory, cheer you up, and so that you can actually still develop a positive mindset and move on.
Okay, Reverend, I have a kind person business. Is that sometimes we do set high expectations. Sometimes and yet realistic, but maybe any set this idea, and also in a way, bet me be affecting. One guys when it you say idea won't mean yet. I'm not saying say a waste you, but what expectation, said you high and BBI be a Yankee chance from 1 near to 2 near to 3. What expectation here 9. Person will go through all the necessary steps and answer what me achieve with a higher one. Is it also not affecting us?
Yeah, that is also an issue. But I think that we are dealing with positive mind mentality, and most of the time, I try also say, yeah, can positive mindset, and say they be a message about the call, why God wants you to do it. I hope you understand it. And besides our expectations, a positive mindset, I share your own crying. See a bit me that high expectation, that positive mindset, the overriding foundation of why you are taking the step. And they say, when your main he has put something on your heart and he wants you to be an achiever. And there are certain things that are not within the range of your call. And if you put yourself and be expecting those kind of things, minimum also for quite a mountain, quite fast in 21 days. So we know a pencil or say, Jina, not sometimes, even as I am trying to advise, I said, let us be realistic. I'm not trying to limit us in expecting, but in our expectation, there are some things my friend said the if expectations. Me patriotic say, say Nyamiya matoma Messi 9-10. I hope you understand it. Nyamiya matoma, that is the if expectations. I want to build 10-story buildings. It's an if expectation. But I'm more at least bakum you know I'm a home media. What's missing? And so that 2-story buildings maybe I will be so busy. That is the realistic expectations, But I also expect and God will give me the grace. Now I will love to get there, but I really don't get offended if I don't go beyond the realistic expectations, And see, there's nothing wrong to have those if expectations, Says now said, this is how I want to expand the company to my want. But at least, these are my if expectations as opportunity never make grapple. But it doesn't mean that I shouldn't have expectations at all. You should still have realistic expectations. My opportunity not a you are still okay with it. Still now it makes you an achiever. But to live without an expectation to achieve more than you are now, that is a sickness. Who hear deliverance?
Okay, yeah, that's a bit Reverend with you. Yeah, that's a enekra with me enya emre ade amayen. We can feel any program nankasa in your voice because of the situation at home. Ebi ana afinu wa beka ye ho na ebi a wunim. Reverend nia pa one no si school bibi biara ne ye bibi we free mu. Nti eba behia and then so dwumadi a no ahyehyɛ de aman nti and then no mesre sɛ me pese be fa ne mre bebre. Close to 1 hour. Owo yawdiem owo pain mu. Nti mesre sɛ question bia emma ye die. Na kyerɛ sɛ megina eye obi biara ɛne yɛtiefoɔ nyinaa anan mu na kyerɛ sɛ yɛde aseda kɛseɛ ama no na yɛtumi ama no ho kwan na watumi akɔ akɔdwodwo no ho na ɔne abusuafoɔ atumi anya nkitahodie na ebia biribi biara wɔ hɔ biara nso ɔmatumi ahyehyɛ nti mɛsrɛ sɛ wowɔ so nko a wɔhyɛ ɛyɛ Reverend well na some sympathies be no ne condolences be no ne just wish no well because and then ocean the casa crana and yes ana team positive casa netia so atiasie enti metre bebre ti sabre die na kyerɛ sɛ yɛde dwumadie no ɛba awie ya ne sa ti dia meka nyinaa ne sɛ Reverend ɛna pills no yɛnsa aka na wɔtwi dan na wode begya yɛ kwan kra.
Like I said, some of them are not your fault. You didn't have control over it. But I did a person will kind say whatever the disappointment, whatever the failures, whatever the confusion, always remember that you are a member of Team Positivity. And so through it all, you don't have to lose that kind of mentality. Because once you drop your self-value and your ability to achieve and your mentality to be an achiever, you are actually putting yourself in a platform every manner difficult for you to achieve. And all these things happen. Job experienced whatever he experienced. Yet, say, in the book of Job, but you realize that he was still thinking positively. Maybe another when he said that could be Job. Was it the year you tried to cry when it was said? Job said it. So he never dropped his positive. If you want to be as rich as Job was, if you want to be an achiever as Job became, no matter what you go through, bring yourself up. See yourself as a member of Team Positivity and try as much as possible to encourage yourself. I have said that the testament will be ended. I have First Samuel chapter 30 verse 6, and David encouraged himself in the Lord. Encourage yourself in the Lord, just as Job did, because you belong to this team, and we all want to be achievers. You are an achiever. It is a mrebi neba jaina ento. Build yourself up, build your mentality up, because you need that positive mentality in order to break through. Now, whatever we are going through, through it all, you will still maintain and you will still be in a position to think positively, to speak positively, to act positively, so that you can achieve a positive result. God bless you so much.
Yo, Reverend Yada Sibebre, Sabre, the NHS, Yadi, Jumadi, baby, and a son, and so much as Momodi as a mobile support to a year, Yabua for a year, KTA mobile, almost then keeping technology affordable sounds, no comma, Apex 10. A bushon for a more farming, so organic fertilizer power. And say Bibia, just a Ubi Bibia from an may come for a year, Apex 10 at the amount. Sounds on a year. Models designs, and so you can models designs amount all fashionable, costumed bow ties, neckties, lapels, and marks are not just a make for a year models designs at the amount. Sounds a comma a year. Port of America container services, so person or shipping yama a call Ghana, Africa, any baby biara, ubetimi a contacted. Port of America Container Services. Our address is 670 South 21st Street. Sounds sooner A plus African market. So all pay wholesale products and that's a wholesale African near Atoa. That's all New Jersey. Metro Sabomodians call A plus African market. Address here 670 South 21st Street. Almost so SN was shipping A plus shipping. Almost shipping Ghana any baby biarabia. Inti Sabre the Natchez yada omunyina se yada mo amunya amre ebeka ye ho nyina se obi biara wode a message ebre Reverend bia yada obi biara ase a message of condolence ebre Reverend yada mo nyina se yenia Ellen sanso na Charles Odame PK Jason yada masibebre Benny Apfo Plange yada mo nyina se sanso na ekoma Margaret Kwachua Josephine Champon obi biara mesra se bia na mantimi ambo wudi afa cheme ba dia mesra nyina ne se mom patronize omo a supporting omo attire ti sans na me kire mo say a new product omo so supporting happy hour snacks inti e bia na okọ African market bi na ko hu bi wo hon ma mesra say patronize happy hour snacks and so my omo ye ebro ene enkatie achomo ene niema bebre taste na na ye wo Ghana no the sa taste no aba America hanum inti be on the watch out for happy hour snacks. Yada must be brace abribia munya emre edema nti sa brady na chose ye kwa kofa ye commercials na some anti en ka biom dia na chose ye no munyina edi nkra ne sa ye nchia kase nsoma na Adjei amisa yada as be brace ene anwumre munyina munya kwan ebekan ye ho na team positivity tre na ye kase ye besra se videos no bebre na wo YouTube. But more than some kakosha sounds, you best say more subscribing to the YouTube channel, no more subscribing to the channel, no. Edino a scroll ewa asia more subscribing Kwamet TV, KWAMET space TV. Monsha na man kwan kofa Kwame TV, enya Kwame TV, Kwamet TV. Yada must be brain. This upgrade not just yet the Jumedi no eba. We ya ne say boka kofa commercial say wo na Monty and Kabioma, not Yanimo AD and Crack. KTO Mobile also then keeping technology affordable.
I wanna share with you, and you can share with me. Come, let's share together. Oh, KTA Mobile, KTA Mobile. Technology worth sharing.
It's the future.
Ghana fue yedie na bayo yedie na bay Epestin fertilizer booster purely organic efrasa simu ene de massase no obo ade ensa no pe na menu akayo se wudro bia nim enti se ode yafu a anya ade aduaba no anase wo a wudi no benya sosaso bia na chese be ma kwaye aye dekorate kane no a ebe fa na tuma pa de afra na de ma Epestin edan so kra ne se enema no wadua na ewuwo na flowers ne aduaba no etiti godo agya wadwo a se wudi Epestin kanu a ene tese magic no ebe ye prom fe na aso aba bebre ahwadi mu pa etisese no kwiafo ebenya sika ene anigye awo mabrabo mu a na utimi se enya sam keto akora Epestin e mammo piafo epenifo monfre ahoman na monje kiremu ya ehye medie 0552 505723 ana plus 160 922 78043 Epestin fertilizer booster piao mama kwadwuma ayanika pa
Making farming sexy again.